Good morning, Tina Mitchell here, your local mortgage expert and your host of Coffee with a Superstar. My show is with real estate agents for real estate agents, interviewing the best of the best so you can hear what they're doing and how they're doing it. Each week I come to my superstar's office to invite you behind the scenes of their business, and this week I have Trina. Trina, thank you so much for being my superstar.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
And a little bit about Trina Torkelson. She is with Windermere. Trina started in the real estate industry in 1998. She started as a commercial real estate, working as property manager. Started selling real estate in 2014. Three-time winner of 5-star professional awards, serving clients in more than 275 residential real estate transactions. As a seasoned real estate broker, she understands that buying and selling a home are more than just a transaction. It is a life-changing experience, and that's why Trina dedicates to providing exceptional personalized service for all of her clients. She takes great pride in the relationships she's building and always works relentlessly, which we were actually talking about that before we came on live here, on her clients' behalf to help them achieve their real estate goals. And I'm excited to have a conversation with you, Trina. I've had your husband, John Torkelson, in studio. He's a very successful home inspector.
Yes.
Yeah, so a little shout out for John. John, if you're watching, your lovely bride here. John's amazing. So for my real estate agents that are listening today, if you want a great home inspector, John's your guy. He's amazing, just like you are. Two successful spouses in the real estate space. Love that.
Thank you so much.
So Trina, what do you credit your success to? How do you do everything that you do? Because you're a mom of 2 young boys, and I know that you do a lot in the household to take care of John, so you've got your wife duties and very successful in the real estate space. How do you do it?
I just, focusing and making a plan and having a strategy to go forward. I think goal setting and, really focusing on positive mindset of I can do it even when I'm, having a hard day, what's one little step that I can do to just, make this day go smoother for myself and for my clients as well.
So important. And I teach a coaching course, my One Time Your Business 8-week burn. Victoria will put a invite on that. It's 15 clock hours certified as well if you need to get some hours in. But there's 3 mind shifts. One of the mind shifts is rejoicing in your small successes, and that's just what you said. It's not about leaping up a flight of stairs. It's about taking one step at a time, and through that process you will get to the top. That's why crash diets don't work. They're not sustainable. You need to make small decisions. And every decision that you make, every small decision is going to have a ripple effect. It's going to be a good ripple effect or not a good ripple effect, just depending on what small decision you decide to make. So when you're looking at your goal setting, as Trina says, she credits that to the success that she has in real estate, is you want to start from that big goal that you have. And I like to say to start from your income. How much money do you want to make? Because really that's what our goal is the financial income that we want for our family for that year. So start from that, and then you can determine how much you have to close for that, and you break it down to the very little steps, all the way to how many people do you have to call every day when you come into the office. And when you have that goal, then it gives you a plan, a realistic plan for you to tackle, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
And just pushing through any fears that you have, and just being willing to, pick up the phone, to reach out to somebody, and to have compassion and empathy for whatever they're going through as well.
Yes.
Selflessly is super helpful to be successful.
So agree. And you'd commented as well about that mindset.
Yes.
And having a great mindset. So in order for us to be best for others, we have to be our best self first.
Yes.
And so you really need to have those routines that you have, just like you brush your teeth every day. You need to have your routines, whatever that looks like for you, to get yourself in the best mindset so that you can be best for your clients. Because in the real estate space, there's a lot of kind of stressful that comes up for people, right?
Oh yes, I mean it's the most stressful transaction that people can do in their lives, because it's their biggest purchase.
Yes.
And oftentimes you're the person going through the contract, empathizing with whatever they're going through in their struggles, and then creating a clear path for them to be successful through it. and not getting caught up in too much of the small stuff, because it's the
Yes.
end goal, and
Yes.
creating those goals for them as well as yourself,
Yeah.
so that we can get to the finish line.
Yes, yeah. And your clients, buyers or sellers, they're going to feed off your demeanor.
Yes.
And if you have a calmness to you and you have an authority of expertise to you, they know that it's in good hands, and it helps them to be less stressful in the process. But if you seem scattered and have any level of stress at all, imagine how that's going to have a ripple effect into your client's mental space.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
picking out, just from the team that they pick out too, whether it's from the lender, the
Yes.
title officers, just putting that team in place so that they
Yes.
have the smoothest transaction possible.
So
For them.
important.
And there will be hiccups that come up, and
Yes,
there
of
will
course.
be challenges.
Of course.
But, being able to navigate through them, reaching out for help in those expertise areas as
Yes,
well, having
yeah.
a good home inspector, having
Yes.
all those people in place, so that you have the best outcome for them.
Yeah, well, we have Trina, our superstar in the real estate. You have Tina Mitchell, your superstar in the mortgage space, and we've got John, superstar in the execution space. So you got three people handled right there. So let's talk about challenges, Trina, because I believe in life everything's balanced, which means that there's good and bad. It's just how you look at those challenges. If you can switch and look at them as opportunities, because they all are, that's how we set up our growth pattern. And without those challenges, we're not able to learn and grow. So what is a challenge that you have had in the recent or not so recent that has been a big challenge for you to overcome? And how did you do that, and what lesson did you learn from that challenge?
I think the biggest challenge sometimes in the real estate world is we had a super hot market, and it was very predictable. You knew how much a house would escalate, and
Yeah.
it was like super smooth. And then I think we hit, even 2017, 2018, there would be periods of times in pockets of markets where things would slow down.
Yeah.
And maybe you have a seller with more days on market. And really having that data of seeing what the change is, educating them, coming up with a navigation plan to
Yes.
here's what we're gonna do with this, and here's the strategy for this. And those are
Yes.
hard conversations. It's much easier to sell when they're selling super fast
Yep.
and they're escalating, and you can negotiate the best price for
Yes.
your clients.
Yes.
But it's navigating through those hard times and staying calm, even when you're a little like, okay, this is different, this is change, and just being there, putting the best forward for your clients. And
Yes.
sometimes that may be, I've taken clients where we've said, okay, we're gonna go off the market, we're gonna come back here, and we
Yeah.
made $20,000 to $30,000 more for them by being able to do that.
Yeah.
And just having those strategies in place, to be able to do that and come up with a navigation plan with your
Yes.
clients, is super helpful
Yeah.
to be able to do. Whether it's like, we've got the house pre-inspected, so we're not
Mhm.
gonna have issues later on, just
Yes.
coming up with plans to make the whole process seamless.
Yeah, well, and what I like that you said in that, and the most challenging time is when there's the transition, but it hasn't all the way here, when you're kind of in this space. And remember, if you're listening now, because these challenges are going to come up again, the market is always changing, and there's always going to be that point where you're kind of in the middle of two markets, and I think that's the most difficult time. Just know you're not alone. Every other agent that's selling has that same challenge as well. So how can you bring yourself to a better space? And I think that goes back to the mindset that Trina talked about when we started out our conversation this morning, is just creating that mindset and knowing I'm not in this alone, and what I need to do is need to go out there, be the expert that I know that I am. And I love how you said to help them navigate through the process, and to do that based on numbers, because the great thing is, in the real estate space, you all have access to all the numbers that you need. And data is everything. You need the left side of the brain needs the data, the right side of the brain needs the stories, because it's the emotional connection and the facts. And so you bring those together and you have a perfect conversation to maximize the results in that. So come prepared with your data, bring in the stories of the risk if they don't, and the why if they do.
Right.
Whenever you can bring in their why into that story, to make that story about here's what it looks like for you as a family, here's the risk if you don't come from, follow my expertise, and here's the benefit if you do. And that's a powerful conversation, and that formula works in any conversations. Use the numbers and the stats, and use the story connected to their why, the risk if they do and the benefit if they don't. And that's all you can do. You lead with your expertise, and they're either going to follow your expertise, and if you're really good, majority are going to, or if you lead as that expert that you are, majority are going to follow. The ones that aren't are going to be one-off, and if you're not getting, you got to let them go. If you're not getting those results and you're having a higher ratio the other way around, you need to rethink how you're communicating your message. Reach out and mentor with somebody that's having success with it, like my superstar this morning. Reach out and talk with the best of the best to find out how they're doing it. And I believe that's how we learn. We want to learn from the best so we can go through their trials and errors that they've already figured out. Yeah.
Exactly. And reaching out to your people that you work with, and I think surrounding yourself with really successful people is a super big key to my success. It's like having that team of people that you can contact. Are you going through the same thing? What's going on with, like maybe they have a house down the street that's somewhat similar to what you have. It's just reaching out. We are an expert, but we also can reach out and just get some more information. It's only helpful to our clients and to ourselves.
Of course.
To bounce off market ideas and what's going on and any feedback they've received, and just going the extra mile, trying to think outside the box of where you're, especially when you're kind of a little stuck.
Yes.
I feel like that's really super helpful.
Great advice. Camaraderie is so important. And we can get stuck in our own space, and that's why, going out for those outside conversations like Trina is saying, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, why didn't I think about that? That's so obvious. Well, because we're stuck in the own, space and conversations that we're having. So yeah, I think that's critically important. And have that part of your business plan. When are you, and what groups are you a part of that you're positioning yourself and getting in front of, whether it's a mastermind group or having somebody you talked about, you and an agent that you partner up with where you guys keep each other accountable. And that's what really the best of the best do is they are always having someone to have conversations with, having that camaraderie and having that accountability partner.
Exactly, because it's super helpful. And then we also take classes together. We're always continuing education, and just the other thing is I have somebody I can count on for if I want to take a vacation, so that I can do that and plan. And that's a super helpful part, because I think that sometimes agents don't always do that. And it's super important to be able to reset yourself, to have somebody you feel completely confident that can help you.
Critically important. It's not about solo entrepreneurship. I don't believe that solo entrepreneurship is the way to go. You need to not be all by yourself. You have to have people to support you. I mean, you and John, you have your beautiful property with 3 acres. You just got your new motorhome? Yes, for to get out more in the wilderness with the 2 boys. I know you guys do a lot of outdoor activity, and so you have a great life balance. And I don't really believe in total life balance. Nothing is totally balanced out. You're making a decision if you're putting a little more time over here or a little more time over here, but you have that ability to swap back and forth depending on where what's going on in business and what's going on in life. And so, I always say I work really hard and I play really hard. And sometimes I'm putting a little more grind. It might be a week that, hey, I've got a lot of things that I'm really focusing on. And then I've got another week I just take off and go on vacation with one of my girlfriends and know that everything's handled at the office.
Right. Yeah. And setting yourself up for that too.
Yes.
So that you've got everybody prepared.
Yes.
Everything's in line so
100%.
that you can do that.
100%. So let's talk about marketing, Trina, because agents are always, what's that marketing, thing that's going to take my business to the next level? And there's a lot of marketing ideas out there. You just need to focus on 1 or 2 that you're going to really implement and work on, and know that there's no magic pill. It's just what fits best for you and your business. So what marketing tip do you have?
My biggest one, it's really quite simple. It's just marketing to that sphere that I have, sending out emails, staying in touch with them, making a few phone calls, especially with that inner circle that I have.
Yes.
Of people who, that I know, who know, like, and trust me.
Yes.
And so, and then I also, have a Facebook page, and people know I'm in real estate, which I think is super important.
Yeah.
And also, I was talking to one of my friends, you know, it's about being social too, right? Because if you're
100%.
in your house all day,
Yeah.
nobody can reach out to you and ask you to sell their house. So I mean, I think it's really important that we get out there. I mean, whether it just be being part of different groups.
Yes.
I know that I looked back on where my business was coming from, and I'm like, these groups I was in 5 years ago, people come to me for, and so I think it's not just about being, you know, because sometimes we can get stuck. We're in our house, we can work from home, you know, that's all great, but also getting out in the world and you know, being of help to others is also, you know, something that I'm passionate about.
Yes.
And, so I feel like that's a really big key one, is just being more social.
Yeah, and real estate especially, but any industry, people want to work with people that they like, and unless you're socializing with them, how can they like you at that level? It can be a surface like, but you want them to like you. They look at you as a friend because you want to support and help your friends. And so, and especially in real estate, because we're talking about home, you know, and that's where people are entertaining and building those friendships. So getting out there, and I love how you mentioned the groups that you're a part of, whether it's networking groups, whether it's, you know, if you're a mom raising, you know, young kids, it's a working mothers group, if it's a passion group, and wherever your community is at, if it's the sports group with your kids, whatever that is, have those groups that you're a part of. And I think what's critically important, and this is what Trina was saying, she looks back and from 5 years ago, these are groups that you were a part of, and you're staying connected with it. It's not about going to all these different meetups and randomly popping in these networking groups, because you're not going to get any business. It's about strategically picking the group that there's people that are most likely going to want to become friends with you, then they're going to want to work with you, and continue fostering and building those relationships within those selected groups that you've decided to target, correct?
Correct. And for some of the groups I was just participating in, and it wasn't a target. It was just something like I had a mom's group and a similar friends group, and it wasn't like I had projected a target. I was just being myself, and they knew I was in real estate and wanted to do work with me. So I think that's been a key component of and then just making sure they know you do real estate. Cause you gotta constantly, you gotta constantly let them know, hey, this is what I do. So that you can be top of mind. Yes. And they know that you're doing a good chunk of business as well. Yeah. So, and I want to make a comment too on what you said. Organically is the best way in deciding who you're going to be with. I say strategic and target because a lot of times people aren't thinking about, when you're thinking about these groups, it should be your authentic self. What do you, if you're a mom with young kids, that's where your passion is. That's what's important to you. So those are the people you want to connect. You want to be, if you like to ski, then get in a ski group, but do what you're passionate and what you're most authentic in. That's your authentic person. Hey, if I love the golf, trust me, I'd be out on the golf course building business, but I don't like to golf, so I'm not hanging out with golfers. I'm not really, into sports at a big level. So, but I am into personal growth. I'm into having a quality of life through running a high efficiency business model, and so, I have a passion around women that are going through challenges financially with their kids, and so I do a lot of work in that arena. So invest your time where your authentic self is. The target, that is strategic targeting. It's being through your authentic self. So love that, Trina. What about a call to action for a real estate agent that is listening to our Facebook Live show today? What would be a call to action if they just want to, they're trying to get to that next level, whether you're a top producer trying to get to the next level or you're a younger producer trying to get into the market, it's still, the same thing. What is that call to action? My biggest, I had a mentor, and then I would call on 3 or 4 different people. So especially when I was first starting, that was a huge part of, and having a lender support, because that can be a great resource for questions that that come up, because there is so much on the lending side, especially when you're doing your first few transactions. And I think mentorship, regardless of where you're in your business, because there's already people who are doing more, and what are they doing? You know, I always have questions for people, because I think we can always, no matter how much business or how many years, there's always learning opportunity within real estate.
Yep.
And so whether it's through my brokerage, which has plenty of great classes, and or the Realtors Association, just there's so much you can do to like keep on benefiting, and collaboration with other agents. And I love even taking those classes and asking people what they're doing to be successful. And just having that mind of curiosity, and being teachable throughout the process. You know, and I mean, just our industry, I would love to see more people be more collaborative. I think we can still have the best interests of our clients, and just be gracious professionals in the transaction. It doesn't have to be so adversarial like sometimes it gets. I would love to see, because you can be tough and you can still advocate for your clients, but just being a gracious professional. And I think, you know, I mean, we can always improve in that department. I feel like that's kind of part of my mindset, is like I can always do one little step to be slightly better, and just having that as a goal for, you know, going forward. But I think it's really important, and I feel like we all serve our clients better if we do a collaborative process.
And I love that. You have the curiosity. You know, be curious every day and be intentful to ask a question. Be careful on who you're asking, because you really want to set your boundaries up of where your perspective is coming from. You really want to be asking agents advice, ones that are doing great business, because otherwise that question can set up your perspective of what's happening in the market if you're talking to the 80% that are getting 20% of the results. So be strategic in who you're asking. And I love how you say, you know, to come from that place of, you know, wanting to give back and help others, and, you know, coming in, be a little bit better and a little bit better. You know, my goal, I've never have a big, you know, year goal that I do. It's just to be a little bit better than I was today than yesterday. That's it. Really simple. To be an inspiration to at least one person every day. That's it. I wake up every day a little bit better today than yesterday. Be an inspiration to at least one person. And if I meet those two things, my day's a success. And it kind of goes in line with what we started with. It's about one small thing. And it makes it fun, and you know that every day's going to be a success, because how difficult is that?
You get to I get to help people, you know, like whether it be my teammate or a client. You know, just coming up with that strategy to be helpful to other people just every day, and loving what you do, you know, like, and having compassion for other people. So
what do you talk a little bit about? I've given a little bit away, but what you're passionate about outside of work?
I am passionate about my family. So my husband and my two boys, who are 12 and 14. We have
a shout out to the boys, because I'm sure they're going to watch their mom on Facebook Live, right?
So Josiah and Colton, and they're a hoot and funny and humorous. We live on a little 3-acre paradise up north, and
your 3 boys are crazy about outdoor stuff.
We have chickens and little kitties, and they get to ride around, and we have ponds in our backyard, and it's just a super fun way for them to grow up. And we're always constantly remodeling this 1904 farmhouse, and so it's just a super great way for them to grow up. And then we purchased a motor home, so we'll be going after Christmas, and we'll go quad riding, and we have a side-by-side ATV, so we'll do a little bit of that. John and I usually every year we pick a place to go and travel the globe. So we just got back from India, which I heard was an amazing experience. It was absolutely fantastic. We were treated so kindly. It was also impactful to my heart. I mean, there were parts that were a little rougher than, but it was a great experience.
And you guys were there for how long?
Close 2.5 weeks. So it was a good chunk of time, and it was a wonderful experience. So that's really fun. And then I always like to have like a couple like weekend getaways with my girlfriends as well. So I know you do that.
I do too.
Well.
I'm all about the having fun with the girls. Yeah.
Yeah. And that just we really lift each other up and support each other.
Yes.
And you can just be, whether you're crying or laughing
yes.
or whatever you're going through, just being able to support each other in a positive way.
And I love that. Yeah, it's there. You have your work and your passion there. You have your passion with your family. Me being my husband, and then your girls just having that special time. I mean, it's I think it's important. And if you're a guy, listening, having your special guy time. It's important to be able to, because it's a different space when it's just you and the girls.
Yes,
just as it's a different space when it's me and my husband. I mean, that's just as important as this. But the balance of all of it is great.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, and just giving yourself that too, because you're worth it.
Yeah, you are worth it. Yes, tell yourself that every day. You're worth it.
Exactly.
You're worth everything that you are meant to have, and I love that. So, what is a shout out that you'd like to give to our agents who are listening today as we're wrapping up our time together?
I think, I'm reading that book, The Slight Edge, and it's very much similar to your one time in your business.
Yes.
It's just about being positive and just doing one little small step.
Yes.
Each day can make a profound effect in your life, and I think that's the part that can be hard when the business slows down and like this time of year gets a little quieter. It's what can I do? Can I do a few simple things to make it more efficient for next year?
Yes.
And I really got a great deal out of your mentoring session where you're doing that 8-week burn.
Thank you.
Yes. And so that was super helpful. Just doing little things to make your business smarter, whether it be set up an email template for next year, just doing that work smarter, not harder thing. And this is the perfect time of year. So that's kind of what I'm working on in December is, touching base with my clients. I'll be making cookies later on this week to deliver for them. But just doing little tiny things. Because I think it can be overwhelming sometimes of what we could possibly do. Yes. But just taking those little steps. Yeah,
so read the Slight Edge. And what a lot of people do is when the business starts slowing down is they come in later and they leave earlier. I don't get that. When the business slows down, you should be in earlier and you should be staying later. This is really, and look at this time as a benefit, don't come from a place of scarcity, but come from a place of benefit. Okay, I've got some time here. I'm going to really focus more in working on my business, creating and developing new ideas to implement in my business model. But it's crazy to me in the mortgage industry as long as they've been doing this. Things slow down and people come in late and leave early. That should be the exact opposite. When things are going really well, you've got everything set up, you can come in a little bit later and leave a little bit early and do some of those personal things. Well, thank you so much, Trina, for being my superstar this morning and having a conversation live on our Facebook Live show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
A little cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. And Katie, if you're watching, thank you for my Coffee with a Superstar cup that I'm going to be using every week. Just pouring my tea into this new cup. And thank you for each of you for being here, and I hope that you're finding value in my Coffee with a Superstar show, and feel free to reach out if there's anything that you need. Cheers.
Cheers.